The Miami Heat are gearing up to make some serious changes this offseason in terms of bringing in some new talent to get them over the hump next season and potentially helping them win the NBA championship next season. We all know that this season, the Miami Heat absolutely shocked the world, losing the first play-in game, but then dominating the rest of the way, starting with the one-seeded Bucks, destroying them in 5 games, and then you got the Knicks, and then they even won a close series versus the Boston Celtics that went 7 games and really showed how battle-tested they are, making it all the way to the NBA Finals. However, they came up just short again and couldn't overcome their last test. The Heat actually have a very talented roster and presumably one of the best head coaches in the game as well, in Eric Spoelstra. That was never in question. We also have to note that they were missing Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo, 2 of their best shot creators on the team. But we do have to ask ourselves, even with Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo, let's say they were healthy, would that have changed the outcome of the NBA Finals? And I'm not saying how many games went, but do you think the Miami Heat would have won the NBA Finals if Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo were healthy? Personally, I'm not too sure. I don't think it would have made too much of a difference, but I do think it maybe would have went 6 or even 7 games if they were healthy. But with that being said, we don't really know. We can't really speculate on what could have not happened if Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo were healthy. But what I do know is they cannot come back with the same roster next season. In this video, I'll be breaking down the ins and the outs of what the Miami Heat need to do next in order to give them all the ability in the world to improve this roster, while also telling you guys what they've already done to make a difference, to make an impact on this team next season, because there are some things that some guys who they've added who already, I think, will make an impact on the future of this team going forward. However, before we jump into the video, I need you guys to do me a huge favor and smash that like button if you haven't already done so. Helps out the channel so much, so let's see if we can get the video up to 500 likes. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the Miami Heat all off season long, and I also will be live streaming games. So if you guys want to watch some Miami Heat Summer League games this season in a couple of days, make sure you guys join the family. I'll be watching those live, commentating them, talking to you guys. So if you guys want to do that here, this is the place to be. Subscribe to the channel, join the family, and like I said, I also will be covering the Heat next season as well, streaming a bunch of Heat games. I just like the way the Heat play, so I'm going to be doing a lot of Heat games next year as well. So if you guys are interested in any of that, make sure you guys turn on post notifications so you're notified every time we go live for a game and every time we post a video as well. But without any further ado, let's jump into today's video. Now, before we jump into what the Heat need to do next, let's quickly go over some of the talent that they've already added to this team, in primarily that being undrafted free agency. They got a couple guys who actually are very intriguing. Specifically, Drew Peterson and Caleb Daniels, to me, are just very interesting, intriguing prospects that you guys need to know if you're a Heat fan. These guys are both undrafted free agents, like we know, but with that being said, we need to understand just how good the Miami Heat have been over the last couple of decades, finding undrafted talent that can be crucial on a playoff team. And I mean, just look at guys that were playing this year: Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, and the list goes on and on. And those guys were massive in terms of, their playoff run. Now, the Heat in their front office just have a knack for talent, finding talent, especially when it comes to undrafted free agents. Some, other teams can't find. The Heat do a beautiful job finding these guys. Now, let's start off with a guy like Drew Peterson. Drew Peterson is going to fit in well with this new age type of unicorn style of players in the NBA. He's got good height, good length, but can handle the ball like a guard. Drew Peterson is a perfect example of this. He might not be as tall as Giannis, or maybe not as dominant as Joel Embiid, but this guy has the ability to impact the game with a whole new dynamic that Miami hasn't really had for a long time. Now, I don't expect him to be a day one contributor to this team. However, I do believe in a couple of seasons he can be insanely good, and he can be one of these prospects that we see as undrafted free agent turn into a massive player in the NBA. Peterson is 6'9". He's a point forward that has a unique set of skills, a player who could fit in to any roster with his ability to shoot the ball, handle the ball, pass the ball, and even switch on multiple different positions and be able to hold his own defensively. And to be honest, I was shocked to see him go undrafted. I thought he would at least be a late second round pick to maybe a mid second round pick, but the fact that he went undrafted and then to Miami is absolutely mind-blowing to me. In his final season at USC, he averaged 13.9 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists, while shooting 35% from the three-point line. Overall, an insanely versatile player that could be huge in a couple of years from now. Now we go on to a guy like Caleb Daniels. Caleb is a 6'4" guard out of Villanova and was simply one of the major factors why Villanova made it to the Final Four. Daniels has a ton of collegiate experience and, has developed a ton over that time as well. Daniels is an interesting combo guard that has a talent to knock down almost any shot at any time. However, he is a little bit too inconsistent at times, which is the one thing that made him go undrafted. He's he's a microwave, but at times he's very cold, if that makes any sense. But if he can find any sense or any sort of consistency, this dude could be absolutely lethal at the next level in the NBA going forward, and he's another prospect that I just am excited to see in this year's Summer League. Now, with that being said, Miami needs to come out of free agency with some new talent. However, the big problem is they almost have no cap space at all. Now, this is where they need to make a big move, and the move I was talking about at the beginning of this video, it all starts with Kyle Lowry. Now, Lowry is set to make $29 million next season, and the Heat simply need to get that off their books, in my opinion. I do think Kyle Lowry is a okay player at this point of his career. He's getting up there in age, and he had a couple of games in the playoffs where it seemed like, oh, wow, that's Toronto Raptors Kyle Lowry. But there also were times where it's like, is he even doing anything? So that's something that the Heat really need to, take into account. Is Kyle Lowry, is that $29 million worth it to be spending on the books right now, or would it be, more beneficial to go and, either cut Kyle Lowry or trade him to get more money on the books to re-sign guys like Gabe Vincent or Max Strus? Those are two guys that they are really trying to, retain on the roster for next season, but do not have the, cap space in order to do so without going, way over the tax line. Now, if Miami can find a way to trade Lowry, that would be, drastic in terms of helping the rest of this offseason take place for the Miami Heat. And I don't really know what they would trade him for. There's obviously a ton of trade speculation right now about Damian Lillard and, a bunch of other guys in the NBA right now are considered likely to be traded. But at this moment, it seems like Damian Lillard might be staying in Portland for at least the time being until they finish out free agency. They want to see where they change this roster, and then Damian Lillard will come back and say, okay, I want to be traded. Now, Miami does seem like the dream scenario for Miami and Damian Lillard, but at this point, if Portland plays this offseason right, I would not be surprised at all to see Damian Lillard actually want to stay in Portland for at least another another season to see what they do around the trade deadline. So I wouldn't say Damian Lillard to Miami is going to happen, and I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but it's something that Miami needs to, understand, and they might need to change their focus elsewhere. Now, this is where you guys come in. Comment down below a couple of guys, either free agents or trade targets, that you guys want the Miami Heat to maybe even just consider trying to acquire this offseason. Now, I'm going to list some of the names that I think that they should add, in terms of value, in terms of guys who they can bring in on, primarily just fitting onto a mid-level exception, which is primarily all they have right now to offer. But there are some guys that I think could, very much add some good players or a good culture, good scheme fits, and guys who can just come in and contribute right away. And the first name I have is actually a former Miami Heat player in Jay Crowder. Now, let me know what you guys feel about this one. Jay Crowder coming off a year where he pretty much didn't play at all. He held out of Phoenix for the first half of the year, was then traded to Milwaukee, I believe, but didn't really play at all in his time in Milwaukee. But Jay was a key piece to that Miami Heat team that was in the bubble finals, and he's still a reliable shooter. He shot over 37.4% over the last 3 seasons from the three-point line. He also fits in with the Heat culture of dogs, and I think this would be a great move for Miami. Just with their cap space situation, you don't have much, and I do think that Jay Crowder would be likely to fit into a mid-level exception. Another guy is Yuta Watanabe. Now, Watanabe is one of the most lethal three-point shooters in the game, and throughout his 58 games last season for Brooklyn, he averaged 5.6 points and 2.4 rebounds, which I know isn't anything crazy. However, he did shoot an outstanding 49.1% from the field and 44.4% from deep, which is truly unbelievable. Not like Not only would he help space the floor like no other, but he'd also make life so much easier for guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. He's not much of a defender, but he can shoot the ball like no other. Another couple of guys I want to mention briefly is Torrey Craig and Damon Lee. Both these guys can add to the Heat culture, as well as being able to, shoot the ball at a reliable level as well from deep. So those are just three names that I think Miami should be looking at, or four names, I guess. Four names in Jay Crowder, Watanabe, Torrey Craig, and Damon Lee. Those are four guys I think Miami should be looking at to fill that mid-level exception. But they also have a ton of other moves to make as well in terms of what they're going to do with Kyle Lowry, if they want to trade Tyler Hero, and what's going to go on with Gabe Vincent and Max Strus going forward, as well as Duncan Robinson, another guy who they might be able to trade, get that money off the books. Let me know what you guys think Miami should do. They're in a very difficult position right now in terms of, the cap space situation. So let me know what you guys think they should do in terms to fix that problem, or any of guys that you think that they should sign or try to acquire throughout the remaining of this offseason. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Today's video is brought to you by Pro Class, the absolute best place for you to take your game to the highest level. It's the first of its kind sports training and development platform where you can reach your highest potential by learning from some of the best athletes on the entire planet. Some of these guys include Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox, Allen Iverson, DeMar DeRozan, and so many more. And I have some great news for you guys. If you guys go use my code MattyDubs, you'll get 50% off hundreds of training videos, workouts, and drills, and you can get in the lab right now. So go check it out. Go steal some of the secrets from some of the top players in the world right now. And if you are interested in developing your skills at any level, if you play in middle school, high school, college, or if your goal is just to be a better athlete, a better basketball player, this is where you need to go. Nobody else does this. Go check them out, and you can learn, develop your skills at a fast pace, high speed level. Click the link in the description for instant access to all of the secrets in the world. And remember, using code MattyDubs will get you 50% off right now, so don't miss out on this offer.